Hey guys, so today we're going to be factorising by grouping in pairs. This is another form of factorising. Previously we did highest common factor, but now we're going to go on to another form, which is by grouping them in pairs. Let's go through an example of when we use grouping in pairs and why we use grouping in pairs. So if we look at this expression here, it has four terms. It has 3x, minus 12, plus xy, and minus 4y. Now, all three of these terms don't share a highest common factor in regards to numbers and letters other than the number 1. So that's quite pointless. But what we can do here is we can factorize the first two terms and we can factorize the last two terms by grouping them in pairs, as the name suggests. So let's look at the first two terms. Now the first two terms are 3x and minus 12. Now the highest common factor of 3 and 12 is 3. And they don't share any common letters, so we don't put any letters outside. So 3, open bracket, 3 times what is 3x, another x. 3 times what is negative 12, negative 4. So that's the first part done. Let's factorize the second pair, xy and minus 4y. Now they don't share any common factors in numbers other than 1, but they do share the common factor of y. So we can put y times what is xy, another x, and y times what is negative 4y, a negative 4. Now we factorize both of them by grouping in pairs, but if you look at this very carefully, this says 3 times x minus 4 and y times x minus 4. So they're both multiplied by x minus 4. So when this happens, we can put that once as the highest common factor. X minus 4. And then we get the other two values, here being 3 and plus y, and we put them in the next set of brackets, 3 plus y. So what we did is here, x minus 4 happens twice. Another way of looking at it is that we can write it once as the highest common factor in the first bracket. Then we get the two numbers that are outside the brackets, and we write them in the second bracket in the answer there. So x minus 4 and 3 plus y. Now, how do we check if this is fully factorized? Well, we can use the eyebrow method, and we can multiply, or the FOIL method, and multiply each of these four values together. X times 3 is 3x. X times y is plus xy. Minus 4 times 3 is negative 12. Minus 4 times y is minus 4y. Did that go back to the original term? It did. Not in the same order, but it still is the same term. So now we've said, okay, yep, it's correct. Let's have a look. 3x, yep, 3x, xy, xy, negative 12, and minus 4y, minus 4y. So although we factorized it into brackets, it's still the same answer. Let's do another example. Here, they're already in brackets, but are the brackets the same? Yes, 2 minus x, x minus 2, x minus 2. They're the same. So I can write them once as a highest common factor outside, and then I use the other two numbers, 2 and minus 3, and put them in the second bracket. Let's do one final example. X to the power of 4 plus 7x to the power of, what happened there? Plus 7x to the power of 3 minus 4x minus 28. Alright, so let's have a look at these four values. Again, we have nothing that will factor into all of these as a number or as a letter, but we can factor them by grouping them in pairs. So we're going to do the first two pairs, x4 and 7x3. So x3 is the highest common factor there. I need another x plus 7. And when we do the next two sets, negative 4 is the highest common factor there. And I need x plus 7. So now that I've factored both of them, let's have a look at this again. Okay, I have x plus 7 and x plus 7. So when they're the same, I write them once as a HCF. And then I grab the other values, x3 and minus 4, and put them in the second set of brackets. x3 minus 4. So that's as simple as it is. Now, I have 4 questions here that I'd like you to try yourself. Pause the video, try it yourself, and then check if you got the right answer. Okay, so you should have been finished that by now. Let's have a look at the recommended answers. When we factorize the first two sets, we get the highest common factor to be x. We need another 2y minus x. And when we factorize the last two, we get the highest common factor to be y. And we need another 2y minus x. Here we can see we have 2y minus x as both the same brackets. So we write that once, 2y minus x. And in the second set of brackets, we write what's outside the brackets, which is x and y. Let's go through the next set. In the next set, we have factorizing the first two, 5x minus x squared, the highest common factor is x. I need another 5 minus x. And factorizing the last two, the highest common factor is negative 3. X minus 5. Here, x minus 5 is not the same, because in the first bracket I have 5 minus x, and in the next bracket I have x minus 5. But let's see if I can change this a little bit and see if I can get the same value. Okay, so I have minus 3 as the highest common factor here. Let's change that minus 3 to a positive 3. Now, positive 3, and let's get rid of the last bracket. Positive 3 times what is negative 3x? I need a negative x. And positive 3 times what is 15? I need a plus 5. So I have minus x plus 5. Can I rearrange this? I can rewrite this as 5 minus x as well, because remember that negative stays with the x and the positive stays with the 5. So I can rewrite this as 5 minus x. You can check that by expanding that bracket and you'll get negative 3x and 15 as well. Alright, so now I have 5 minus x in both brackets. So I have 5 minus x and I have x plus 3. Alright, let's have a look at the next one. Highest common factor is pi r. I need another r plus 2. And the highest common factor here is negative 3. I need r plus 2. Because remember, a positive and negative multiplied together give you a negative. Highest common factor here for both the brackets being the same is r plus 2. And then I have pi r minus 3. Again, if I expanded that bracket out, I would get the same answer. Let's go into the last one. 4 and 6. The highest common factor is 2. x3 and x2. x2 being the smallest, they both share x. I need another 2x. And I need another minus 3. 8x and negative 12. The highest common factor is 4. I need another 2x minus 3. Again here, 2x minus 3 is shared in both, so I can write it once as the highest common factor. And then outside the brackets, I have 2x squared and 4. So I write that there. Hopefully that answered your questions in regards to factorizing by grouping in pairs.